We're at the IAS 2018 in Amsterdam with James and Christian, who are going to talk about Break the Patent campaign. We just had a big rally out front, and you were the, what do you call it, the IAS Symphony Orchestra? You call it in the background. But we always hear that. There's always challenges and problems and concerns that need to be met. And what better place than voice them and explore them than here? So we'll talk about that. Let's talk about what your plans are.
Yeah, so essentially we've identified that there's a huge problem with access to Truvada as pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, in the United States to prevent HIV infection. Basically, there's a lot of low-income communities, people of color, trans women who are not being able to access this drug, and a huge part of that is because the company that makes it, Gilead Sciences, charges $1,600 for a drug that only costs $6 a month.
So $1,600 is the course that you need to complete to become free of HCV.
Well, so it's
this is
HIV. I mean, not
yeah,
HIV.
It's to prevent an HIV infection. It costs $1,600 a month to be on the drug,
and you have to be on it, consistently.
And that would be the same as the cure would be more, would it?
I mean, there is no cure for HIV, of course.
I mean, But I mean, they also have the HCV drug, which is also very expensive.
So the HCV drugs, right? That cures you of hepatitis C.
But
So
HIV.
So remember with
prevention.
Right, you're just take it every day. I mean, there's intermittent PrEP, but in America generally we take it every day. So you have to access it month after month after month. Right. In my case, I've been on PrEP for over 4 years now.
Wow. And do you get it through a normal clinic or
so
city? Or
I have enough privilege to have very good health insurance.
And you're looking for those that are not privileged.
Exactly.
The people who are in the other populations that are not able to access it.
Right.
And are not accessing it.
Yeah. So we're looking at people who have things like high deductible plans, or people who aren't on insurance at all, who Gilead has a program to help those people, but it's being grossly underutilized. Data came out today that suggests that it's only about 15,000 people.
So who is the responsibility here? We're telling people that they can access this stuff, but if they approach the authorities or the facilities or the clinics or whatever, are they often pushed away for any reason, or is it just the lack of them interested in doing this? What do you think is more?
I think it's a combination of many things. It is, in a lot of cases, it's lack of provider awareness. That is definitely a huge problem. But what we actually see a lot of, unfortunately, is people who actually go through the hoops to try to get onto PrEP. They find a doctor who's willing to prescribe it. They get a prescription, but because it's so expensive, the healthcare system really actually actively disincentivizes a lot of people from using it, whether it's requiring mail order pharmacies to be able to access the drug, whether it's basically requiring pretty egregious prior authorization requests. We think that the central root cause of all those sorts of things, though, is that this drug is a very expensive drug. It's $19,000 a year that comes out of all of our healthcare spending. We all pay for that. And what we instead debuted today is a national action plan that basically guarantees universal PrEP. In other words, not only should someone be able to access the drug for free, right, because it's only $6 a month, to actually a generic to actually access it, but they should also have their clinical care covered as well for free. This is a preventative.
It doesn't. You just can't dispense the pill.
You just can't. It's not an over-the-counter drug. There's laboratory things that need to happen. There are labs that need to be done, and it needs to be taken every quarter. You have to revisit your physician.
To make sure you haven't somehow or another
either acquired HIV, whether you're having some kidney problems,
or you had a break in your treatment or your prevention, and you now acquired the disease.
And you don't want to take the drug, obviously, if you are living with HIV alone. And so what we're saying is that, look, we've done this already. This country has eradicated polio. The United States has. Right? We did that through a massive federal program that basically ensured that everyone who needed access to the polio vaccine was able to do it. We think the HIV epidemic is a scourge of equal magnitude. It's actually killed more people, arguably. Obviously polio is eradicated now. It's killed 700,000 Americans and tens of millions across the world. And we really believe that PrEP is 99% effective when taken every day. So we really have the ability, and we think it's the government's responsibility, considering that taxpayers developed PrEP, not only Truvada as a drug, but also actually funded all the clinical trial work. We have a responsibility to our population to ensure that everyone who needs it can access it, and it's a public good to do so.
So it's actually malpractice to not.
We think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our government is once again falling short of stepping up to the plate and saying this is, well, you guys are going to have to push the buttons.
Sure.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
So I think more and more people need to get on the bandwagon and get excited about this because we can resolve this issue. We can eliminate HIV.
Right. And what's so egregious, we think, is that, this can happen at the stroke of a pen by the CDC or the NIH. Either of those agencies can basically, break open this patent and allow Truvada to be accessed for $6 a month, which is much more affordable than its current state. And then with what we've written out in this national plan, we've kind of built out that for the same cost as it currently it would cost to get people onto Truvada at the $1,600 a month that Gilead charges. We could pay for all of these people's clinical care.
Yeah.
We could pay for additional services that break down the other barriers, such as transportation. There's a lot of great work that can come if we just kind of release this patent and open it up. And we should be doing that, and not doing it is a massive failure on the part of the government.
What we think is truly shocking is that if you actually figure out how much money the U.S. healthcare system already is spending around $2 billion a year, probably a little bit more than that, on getting people onto Truvada for PrEP. Right? If we took that same money and we were able to get a generic, not only could we get, there's less than 10% of the people who need to be on PrEP are on it right now. Not only could we get 100% of the 1.2 million people who need PrEP on it, we could give them free drug, every single one of them. We could get free drug, free doctor's visits every 3 months, and we would still have $500 million left over for the amount of money that we're already spending to basically address all the other problems that people have in accessing PrEP. And that's really what we say. We would save the system money.
Right.
And we could basically start halting the HIV epidemic tomorrow.
It's all in the numbers. You
It's
just
all
put the numbers down and you say this is what it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so simple that something like this project that you're putting forward, this effort, is really so simple that it's crazy that we're not implementing it right now.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
And
So we've gone through all the contortions of the trials and everything. We know all the evidence. We know how to get there. It's just a matter of not doing it. Like I said, it's malpractice if we don't do it.
I think what's important for us to realize is that our society has the ability to end the HIV epidemic, but what's becoming
That's what you're saying.
What's becoming
That's
increasingly
what you're
clear
saying.
is that they won't do it. The government won't act in our interest unless we force them to, and that's basically our.
And that's what we're doing.
Right. Well, it's a valiant and noble and worthy cause. So I want you guys to be successful, and I hope that people will watch the work that you're doing and participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can join the movement and do whatever piece of it they can do to make this a better world.
And if
A
you
world
want
free
to
of AIDS.
definitely, and if you want to get involved, we do have a website called breakthepatent.org. You can go there, sign on to our petition, and get email updates from us about things that are happening, and would be a huge help.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no more of these demonstration projects. We know it works.
Yeah, exactly. We need the community to mobilize.
Yeah, we need people to mobilize around this.
That's great. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for being here and doing your
Absolutely.
work. Yeah.
Absolutely.